What's up, Planeswalkers? It's your boy K-Dog. Got another sweet standard brew for you guys. This one we're taking a look at a Sultai list. So I've built some brews around these cards before, but now we're combining them. And that's Devourer of Memory and Charnel Troll. These actually work really well together because they both want cards in your graveyard. Devourer of Memory, of course, is a blue and a black for a 2/1 Nightmare. Whenever one or more cards are put into your graveyard from your library, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn, and it can't be blocked. That's pretty fantastic. If you can proc this multiple times and just get through for unblockable damage, you can close out the game pretty quickly. And it also has a way to activate by 3 mana. You can put the top card of your library into your graveyard, so it can just do it itself, regardless of what else is in your hand or whatever else you're playing in your deck. It has a way to fulfill its own requirement there. And then the Charnel Troll, of course, is a 4/4 trample for 3 mana, which is fantastic. But you do have to exile a card from your graveyard. It specifically has to be a creature card. But if you do, you get a +1/+1 counter on it. Otherwise, you have to sacrifice it. And then you can pay green and black to discard a creature card to put a +1/+1 counter on it as well. So unblockable and trample are two pretty fantastic ways to get through for damage. And the fact that these can continue to grow depending on your other spells and your graveyard, things like that, it's pretty fantastic. So what we're doing here is 4 copies of Mire Triton. Of course, 2 on Death Touch. Top 2 cards go into your graveyard and you gain 2 life. Also running Skull Prophet. So I chose Skull Prophet instead of Glowspore Shaman because you can repeat the ability to put cards into your graveyard, and also some ramp as well. So but they're very similar otherwise. So 3/1, you can add black or green, so you can kind of ramp into something more relevant if you need to. Or you can just repeatedly put cards into your graveyard to either feed the troll or to make your Devourer unblockable. So Gorging Vulture, kind of the same thing as the Mire Triton, whereas you can gain some life while putting cards into your graveyard. This one puts the top 4 cards, and you gain 1 life for each creature card. And then it's just a 2/2 flyer, so it could be decent certain matchups. Running all 4 copies of Murderous Rider for the creature and planeswalker removal. Eat to Extinction, same thing. Of course, being 1 black is having that flexibility is fantastic here in our 3-color deck. Also running a couple copies of Mindwrack Harpy. It's a 4 mana 3/2 flyer, and at the beginning of combat on your turn, each player puts the top 3 cards of the library into their graveyard. So just kind of an automatic way to kind of fill up our graveyard, give us more creatures to exile to the troll, and to make our Devourer of Memory bigger and unblockable. Atris, same thing here, 3/2. Top 3 cards, our opponent gets to choose those into 2 different piles, and then we choose 1 pile, get to keep it, and the other one goes into our graveyard. So either way, we're getting card selection and we're feeding our graveyard for our Devourer and for our Troll. So this is just a win-win-win for us. Acolyte of Affliction, kind of the same thing. It's a 2/3. Top 2 cards go to our graveyard, and we get to return a permanent card from our graveyard to our hand. So if we need a Devourer back, if we need a Charnel Troll back, we can bring those back. And if a Murderous Riders end up in the graveyard, either from milling or something else, then we can bring that back for some additional removal as well. We're running 1 copy here of Doom Whisper. It's a 6/6 flying chapel. Pay 2 life to surveil 2. It's a little bit steep, but like a Doom Whisper with a Devourer of Memory can just be a game-ending combo right there. You just surveil for as much life as you can and make your Devourer of Memory basically super huge because each activation will trigger the Devourer a separate time. So you can just make the Devourer super big by surveilling multiple times on the same turn before combat, and then you can just win the game on the spot that way. So that's pretty sweet. But of course, you're not always going to have enough life to do that, so just 1 of. Cavalier of Thorns is just such a fantastic card. Run a couple copies of that. 5/6 with reach. The triple green's a little bit steep for a 3-color deck, but we'd have some nice fixing here, so it shouldn't be too much of an issue, especially with just only 2 copies. So get look at the top 5, 1 land card onto the battlefield, and the rest into our graveyard. So it triggers our Devourer and our Troll, of course. Then when it dies, we're going to put any card back on top of our library. Finally here, we have Enter the God Eternals. 5 mana sorcery speed, deal 4 damage to a creature, and you gain life equal to the damage dealt this way. So basically going to be gaining 4 life unless they have some way to prevent that. And then the target player puts top 4 cards of the library into their graveyard and amass 4. So the nice thing is these are all separate, so if they do prevent the damage, you still get to put the top 4 cards of your library into your graveyard, which will trigger the Devourer. And you also get to amass 4 to make a nice 4/4 zombie token. So that's fantastic. So going over our mana base here, a couple islands, 2 Castle Locthwains, 2 swamp, 2 forests, all the shocklands, and we're going to go and run all 4 of the tri-lands as well, just to help us consistently cast our mana costs. You know, double blue for Enter the God, triple green for Cavalier, and things like that. So just make sure we can cast those as consistently as possible. So going to the sideboard real quick here. Got a couple copies of Grafdigger's Cage. Of course, there's lots of shenanigans going on. People trying to cheat out Agent of Treachery and stupid stuff like that. So it's kind of a must. Aether Gust, you know, there's so many powerful red and green spells. Embercleave, of course, is still a problem. Questing Beast and all those sorts of things. Legion's End, we're kind of a slower, grindier deck, or certainly can be, even though we'd have a nice aggressive tilt. Sometimes the slant, sometimes we do need to kind of grind out games, and so being able to get rid of the creatures on our opponent's side in the early game. So 1 copy of Legion's End, get rid of the Knight of the Ebon Legion and things like that. Thought Erasure, instead of Agonizing Remorse or anything like that, Thought Erasure is fantastic because it's got the Surveil component, which can, you put a card into your graveyard and that'll trigger your Devourer and stuff like that while getting a card out of your opponent's hand. Ashiok is going to be our graveyard hate, and also lets us fill up our own graveyard as well to trigger our important spells. Gemrazer here, 4/4 Reach Trample, and mostly it's just in here, of course, for the artifact and enchantment removal. And then a couple copies of Vraska. It's just a nice, powerful card here. 4 mana, 4 loyalty Planeswalker. We can sack permanents to gain life, draw cards. Once you get up to 5 mana, you don't really need anything more than that. So if you do start to flood out, you can just sack those lands, gain some life, draw into something more relevant. And then the -3, just being able to destroy any non-land permanent on your opponent's side for 3 or less. Alright, let's jump into some best of 3 and see how we do. Sultai Mire Troll. Alright. So working on some nice historic brews. So hopefully be seeing some of those soon. We're still in that honeymoon phase where Historic is back now full-time, and we got a new set in Historic Anthology 3. So everyone's kind of playing around, but I'm sure once it settles in over the next couple weeks, we'll be seeing lots of busted things, and that'll kind of ruin that format as well. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So having permanent ranked play is fantastic, but also having a permanent best of 3 unranked would be nice as well. Of course, you can play best of 1 unranked, but they have not given us historic unranked best of 3 yet. Alright, up against El Zongo. There's just so many cool things you can do in Historic, especially on the Jank side, and just not be able to play it because all your opponent wants to do is play, Agent of Treachery in some form or another is just kind of frustrating. And obviously, Phyrexian Obliterator and Ulamog are pretty potent cards as well, but we'll see what kind of impact they will have. If you guys have been brewing around with Historic, just let me know anything that you're working on or anything you'd like to see. Always happy to take some suggestions. I've been kind of brewing a couple things here and there, but haven't really dove into it too hard just yet. Alright, up against 126 cards, and we're the one that's got no lands in our hand. Okay. So we get rid of a Triome and Enter the God. So we got our 2 most important spells, but without a way to fill up our graveyard just yet, the Troll is not playable until we get a couple creatures in our graveyard. We can always play the Devourer on curve. Okay, so we can do that into Swamp, into Devour, and just hope we find some stuff. So Guildgate. So since they're just running 120 something cards, I'm guessing they're just running whatever for their mana base, and not necessarily on gates. Okay, another gate. Could be wrong. Incubation Druid. So we had 0 lands our first 2 hands. Then we had 5, and now we've drawn, what, 2 straight lands? Sounds like Arena. Cavalier. Alright, let's just go ahead and pay. Activate, and just crash in for 3. Land. Wow. Would have drawn another land. So this did get the Cavalier, and we've got 2 more lands, so we should curve out. But without a creature in our graveyard, we still cannot play the Troll yet. Of course, whenever possible, it is something you want to get on curve. Yeah, just keep activating. I mean, they're probably not going to block anyway, but I'd rather just get through for damage. Alright, go ahead and drop a tap land. So next turn we have the Cavalier. Green, green, green. We do have a creature in our graveyard now, but I think I'd rather just go ahead and play the Cavalier at this point, and that'll also trigger the Devourer. Okay, Corridor Monitor. So I don't know what kind of randomness is going on over there. Okay, in their 120 card deck, they found 2 Corridor Monitors. That's pretty cool. Okay, we'll get another land out. Wow, 4 creatures. Could have used those earlier. Well, that does give us plenty of fodder for the Charnel Troll. Alright, we'll attack 3 unblockable again. The opponent's down to 11. They have some nice blockers here, but as long as we can keep making our Devourer unblockable, then we're in good shape. And we've got 6 mana next turn to Troll plus activate. Looks like they're going for Calyx. Exiling the Cavalier. Okay. So we want to get that Calyx off the board. They're going to hit for 1. Sweet. Well, we can Murderous Rider it as well. Let's just activate and just use the Devourer to finish it and hold up a Rider for later. Alright, so as long as they don't have too much removal, from this point on, these 2 creatures should be able to carry us. So this will be a 5/5 next turn. This will be for 3. Kaikar. None of these cards really go that well together, but okay. I mean, Incubation Druid goes with anything, but Corridor Monitor only goes with... Well, I guess you could untap the Incubation Druid. Are they on some kind of a weird combo deck? I don't know how you combo with so many cards, like you're not going to find your pieces. It's hard to find your pieces consistently when you're running so many cards in your deck. I don't know why they're holding priority on the Charnel Troll. I'm scared of the Mire Triton, doesn't really matter too much. Alright. I think I just want to get Kaikar off the board, since that's going to get a ton of value for them. Could go for Troll number 2. That'd be pretty powerful. Let's just do that. Let's hit for 5. They can soak up some with that 4 toughness. They holding a shock here. So all the more reason to Charnel Troll, but they would have done that before Kaikar died. I don't know if our opponent's having connection problems or... Just attack with the Troll. Play Troll number 2, and we'll have a ton of trample damage and an unblockable threat coming through next turn. Okay, so they suck up 4, take 1. Just play Troll number 2, and hopefully we can finish them off next turn. We'll see what they have here. Could be a Storm's Wrath or something, although if they're running a bunch of creatures out, I doubt they want to go that route. And we can always pitch the Acolyte to one of these trolls just to grow it. Okay, Guard Mage, so they're getting a little bit of life back. So 4-color deck, they're finding all their lands. Alright, let's pick some random creatures, probably these Skull Prophets, I guess. So that's 6 and 5 is 11 trample. Pump this up twice, get in for 4. Another Devourer. I'll just activate once. Go to combat and see what they do. Maybe let them block first, and then we'll kind of figure out the math. Okay, so they're taking 2 trample plus 8, that's 10. We can only get in for one more by discarding or by pumping it up. Alright. Just let it happen, and probably just play Devourer number 2. And then Acolyte next turn will trigger both of them just by playing it, and that should be game. Let's say we'll just flood the board with a bunch of creatures here. Oops. There we go. Alright, Devourer comes down. Pass the turn. Okay, so we're down to 3. 5 colors. I mean, you're dead anyway, but I don't really want to play against Agent of Treachery. Sure, it's tapped. These are unblockable. Remember when Agent of Treachery was just kind of a fun little jank card in reanimation builds, and now it's just, you just can't get away from it. It's kind of taken over standard. Banning this would solve a lot of problems, though. I think you start there and then see how it goes. You know, force people to ramp into something else. Even in a 120 card deck, they still found a way to get an Agent of Treachery out. So Incubation Druid. How do you even sideboard against this nonsense? I mean, they're gonna have a hard time casting stuff, so let's hit their hand with the Thought Erasures. I don't know if we have a preference on Skull Prophet or Triton. Maybe we'll just shave the 2 each. Vraska hit a lot of their creatures that we saw. Flyers seemed pretty good against them though, but we'll just go for Vraska. I know it's hard to sideboard against these random decks. They don't really seem to have a real obvious game plan other than just playing a bunch of cards. You're running Kaikar, but we didn't see a single spell from them. We saw Calyx, but we only saw Guardian Project as their enchantment. Saw a Corridor Monitor, but no artifacts. I mean, Jank is where it's at, but you know, it's like when you're just running random stuff, it just kind of whatever. Spectral Sailor at sorcery speed, gotta love it. So we could just drop the Triton next turn, but I think we just go for the Thought Erasure and kind of fix our draws. So they're blue so far. So yeah, let's go ahead and start picking away at their hand. Chromatic means they can't fix their mana. We do need land, even if it's tapped. We'll just Thought Erasure again, get this Guardian Project out of their hand, get rid of their card draw. And the Tomic is uncastable here at double white. Oh yeah, we'll keep taking lands. We could just Murderous Rider, just get them off the board completely. They can draw a card in response. I found a Chromatic Lantern. Just don't understand how you can play 120 card pile. You're playing double white cards, 120 cards, and you still can cast everything perfectly. I don't understand how that works. I don't understand how that works. Let's just kill everything. So start with Spectral Sailor, take off their card draw, and we'll eat to Extinction next turn, and then we can start playing our creatures down. Okay, got us down to 11. What you got? Just kill it now, see what they got. Hold up something. It's not a creature because they didn't play it. Not a planeswalker. I think we're okay on lands now. Alright, so we got Triton into Troll next turn. Or we can just eat to Extinction if they play another threat. Alright, a bunch of removal now, so we're feeling pretty good. Just need to put some creatures in the graveyard. Alright, we got 2, perfect. So Troll, come on down. Unfortunately, you can't activate its ability on your upkeep because they happen at the same time, and your Troll will be sacrificed before you can activate the ability to discard a creature card. So just make sure you have a creature in your bin before you go when you go to cast your Troll. Otherwise it'll get back to your upkeep, and you won't be able to discard anything in response. It'll just be sacrificed automatically. I tried that once to see if it would work, and it did not. So Triton bought us a little bit of life back. We got a couple removal spells. No idea what they're holding open in their hand. We'll go ahead and get rid of the Skull Prophet just in case we find a way or need to get back Atris. So now we got Triton plus Rider, or we can just hold up the removal. So we'll see what they have here. Hit for 7. Triton, hope we find another creature, so we're going to have to exile Atris in case we find Acolyte. Although the way this is going, it might just close out the game before any of that matters, but we'll see. Or they could just drop some random planar cleansing or some shenanigans like that. Just a bunch of random cards, so you have no idea what is in their deck. I guess that's the fun for them. 2 lands. Go and drop the Rider. I don't think we're too worried about holding up removal at instant speed here. I'd rather just get more creatures on board. We're just about close to lethal here, so that's 6, 10, 12. So we're 1 off. So this will get a counter, go up to 6. 4 here, that's 10, and 2 here is 12. So if they don't do anything, we can discard the Murderous Rider and then get in for lethal. But they find a Hydroid Krasis. So they go back to 15. So we'll get rid of the Atris. It's our last creature. Let's eat to Extinction. Hopefully we find a creature to... Perfect. Down to 3. Don't think there's much our opponent can do at this point without a board wipe. Corridor Monitor. Burglar Rat. Okay. What? Alright. So obviously kind of a random pile from our opponent, but they still had plenty of interaction, plenty of creatures we had to deal with, so I think that's a pretty good showcase for what the deck is capable of. Game 1 was fantastic. The Devourer and Charnel Troll worked in harmony and were able to punch through for damage. And then game 2 there, we got the Charnel Troll nice and fat, and yeah, punched through for a bunch of trample damage as well. And then all the powerful Sultai removal spells putting work for us as well. So thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you in the next one. All right, take care.